how do they feel about it now? You came out in blue collar and, well,
Yeah, I mean, look, hindsight's 2020, right? So, the company being successful is looked at totally differently, right? It's the kid in the garage who's banging on his drum set who tells his parents he wants to be a musician, and they're like, "No, you need to be a doctor or a lawyer." And if the kid doesn't succeed at being a musician, the parents probably have a different view of it, rather than if the kid goes on to I don't know, be the Rolling Stones or something. But so hindsight's 2020, but I think that you have to do what you're passionate about in life, and you can't live based on what other people want you to do or what other people expect out of you, because you'll live an entire life and you'll regret every moment of it. So I had to do it, and I had to try. And if I failed, I failed. And I think that's one of the things that's really important too, is I really dislike when celebrities who have won, they won the lottery. Being a celebrity, like an A-list actor, yes, there are some very good actors. There are millions of good actors. There is a lot of luck involved with those people. And I'm not saying they're not talented, but there is a lot of luck with becoming an A-list actor.
mhm.
And for them to say things like, when I was young, I wrote a check to myself for $10 million, and I wrote a date on which I was going to cash it. And that's what made me successful. I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't discount having goals. Absolutely. But there's also someone who's bussing tables in Los Angeles that wrote themselves a check 10 years ago, and they're still bussing tables and still waiting for their break. So the fact of the matter is, you need to go after what you're passionate about, but you also need to put a realistic time limit on it.
Mhm.
So if my kid came to me and said, I want to be an actor, I would say, okay, realize, and I would do what you said with the fork in the socket. I would say, here's the deal. Not a huge barrier to entry to wanting to become an actor. So you're going to get a lot of people. It's a very difficult business where 99% of your time will be spent working hard and being told no. You'll have to have a second job until you get some success. And so understand that you will be working long hours in a crap job and hoping for some success. Now, if you're really passionate about this, absolutely you have to do it or you'll regret it your whole life. But put a time limit on it. Give yourself 3 years, give yourself 5 years, and say, if I haven't made it in 5 years, probably not gonna make it. And the ones that don't make it, that do it for 25 years and make it, is even a smaller percentage. It's 0.001% of actors that make it when they're 50 and have never made it before that. So great. Go be a musician, go be an actor, go be a welder. And if after a certain period of time, it doesn't pencil or it doesn't make sense, then you've given it your shot, and you can't have regrets on that. You have to be honest with yourself. And so for me, it was, I can't do this corporate job thing anymore, and I'm going to give it my best shot to do what I want to do. And if it doesn't work out, then I have to provide for my family, and I'll do whatever job it takes for me to provide for my family. But if I don't try this my whole life, I'm going to be frustrated that I didn't try it. And so that's my kind of story advice for anyone, is you got to try what you're passionate about, but you also got to have a time limit on it. And that doesn't mean that it has to be your career, right? I think one of the things too that Mike Rowe always says is this fallacy of you have to love what you do. What a blessing if you do, but you don't have to love what you do. You have to love your life. And I tell people all the time, it's one of the reasons that I think welding is such a good career. You can come in, do a job that I enjoy welding. It's not always a pleasurable thing. It's also a job sometimes, but they show up, they do their job, they make good money. And then you know what happens when they clock out? They have no stress. A roof rack for an off-road vehicle does not call you at 10 at night and say, hey, you missed a weld on this. That roof rack will be there in the morning and you can weld it then. And so this live work balance is important. So let's say that you're a passionate fisherman or an artist or whatever, and maybe you tried to be an artist and you didn't pay the bills. So you're working a job here, but if you can leave every day and you put food on the table and you pay your bills, and then you could do art in your spare time and on the weekends and still be passionate about your hobby. It doesn't have to be your career. So it's a blessing if it is. But one of the things that I love that Mike Rowe says is he goes, you don't have to love your job. Sometimes you just have to do your job so you can love your life. And so I think that's also a really important thing. You don't have to be an entrepreneur with your own company and be super successful to have an amazing life. The things that make me happy, fixing up old cars, spending time with my family, being in nature, none of those things really cost money. Broken cars are cheap. Spending time with your kids, the kids can be expensive, but spending time with them is cheap. Going out and camping and spending time in nature, also very cheap. So the things that I love in life don't require money. And so if I have money, great. But at the end of the day, if I did a job where I just got to leave every day and go fix up old motorcycles or old cars and go spend time with my family on the weekends, I'm going to be happy.